What's up YouTube, it's NG, the Neon X, and I'm back. Today I'm into more, hopefully useful, tips, tricks, and accessories for your SurfaceDuo. With the arrival of the next-gen consoles, I only saw it fitting to do a video game themed SurfaceDuo tips and tricks. So as you can see, I have my Mario hat, Mario shirt, and I'm in the gaming spirit. Thankfully, a lot of the little tips and tricks that I've found over the weeks does lend itself pretty well to this theme. So I'm pretty excited to show it to you, and I hope, as always, you guys can take something from this to enhance your own experience with the SurfaceDuo. So without further ado, here is SurfaceDuo tips and tricks. Get into the game edition. Well, first things first, let's start with some amazing gaming inspired backgrounds that I found for the Duo. Before I had Star Wars for my Star Wars themed segment, but being that it's gaming themed, and I've always been a fan of Sega. Here we have an Altered Beast motif. Really nice. I don't know if you guys remember Altered Beast, but it's one of my favorite games from my childhood. I remember going to the mall in Jamaica to play this game at one of the, back then, the gaming hubs that had popped up. These little stores that just had a bunch of consoles. You know, back then we all couldn't afford to have every console, so these stores popped up with multiple Super Nintendos and Sega Genesis and TurboGrafx 16, and I remember it was pay to play, so much money was so many minutes. I think it was 15-minute in intervals. We normally play for like half hour to an hour. It was a real treat when my parents would let my brothers and I go down there. This really brings me back to the good old days of gaming, at least for me. Now on the inside here, I have Golden Axe, another favorite of mine, and it works really well with the Duo. I know it wasn't intended for it, but a lot of these wallpapers work really well on these widescreen devices. Here we have Death Adder and the three heroes, the warriors and the dwarf. It was always really nice to see how this game works. Let's just move to a section with nothing in the way. I always have that on my phone. If I really like a background, I like having an area just for the background so you can just take it all in. I wish we could get rid of the bottom here, but you know, with the app groupings that I have just for this particular page, but you can, but it is what it is. So this is Golden Axe, and like the Star Wars background I had before, it does have the nice little trick where you could fold it around and have the bad guys on one side. Here we have Death Adder with his axe. If I scroll back over to the home page, you see you have it here. You see him with the clock at the bottom, search at the top. He's right in the middle, almost perfectly centered. So it works out quite nice. Then when you go on the other side, oh, why did you go and do that for? When you go on the other side, you have the heroes, and again, just due to the way the surface is, the way the screens are, it lends itself really nice to having this dual, not just dual screens, but dual background. The heroes and the enemies, to having them both combined when you open up the screen. Just really nice to see things like that. It works out really well. Now, this little tidbit that I found for the Duo works great if you want to share that quick screenshot with a friend of some amazing feat you perhaps just achieved in the game of your choice, or for any particular aspect of work or play you might be doing on the Duo. Now, what I found is from a app developer. I can't remember his name, but he was the one that provided the LG wide view for the LG V60, which forced all apps to open in wide view one way or another. But I digress. Right. So what he has done is made a simpler way for you to take your screenshot and divide your screen in two, so you can easily select what part of the screen you're trying to take the screenshot of. Now, this is how you do it. You go into your screenshot, and you see that it did that. As we all know, it took screenshot of both. Then you go into share, and in your share menu, where you will see it here. It's called Screenshot. If I can focus on it, there we go. Screenshot Snippet. Now, when you press this, you see here, it automatically allows you to select what part of the screen you actually want to share. Now, you can share it or you can save it. In this case, I will just save it, and it's there. So the screen snippet just makes it a lot easier to share that epic moment with a friend or a co-worker. I find that app very convenient, as opposed to the original method of having to, like I said, take the screenshot and then crop it out and what have you. It just saves time, and it looks pretty cool when you do it too. Swiftkey got a update for the SurfaceDuo that allows you to use your thumbs on either side now. If you use the Swiftkey keyboard, you know that before you could only use the thumb pad on the right or on the left. You're able to swap it over from side to side or use a keyboard full. What this does now, as you see, I like to write things down. What this does here, when you have the new Swiftkey keyboard up, you now have dual thumb screens, or dual thumb screens. You now have dual thumb inputs on both sides. Before, this was not the case. You either had left or right, and you could swap it over from each side to type whatever you wanted to type, or you could go into the settings and have it full, so you could fold it over and type. With the new update, it allows you to have your thumb inputs on both sides to make it, at least to some, easier to type in the book mode. Now, if you're one who is constantly on the Discords or any of those gaming sites where you are wanting to fire off a quick message in a forum about a game, having your thumbs easily access the layers on both sides will make it that much more convenient for you, especially if you type like this, like I do most of the time. Now, another nifty update that the Duo got, well, not just the Duo, but all Android devices in general, was for the Microsoft Game Pass. Now, what this update did was allow you to play your games on your device with touchscreens, well, not touchscreens, with touch inputs. Now, why this was so interesting to me, I am a gamer, not as I like to be, but I do appreciate wasting away some free time with my mobile gaming. They actually allowed for customized buttons per game. So in this game, you have, if you can see it, the gas pedal, the steering wheel, the shifts up and down, and non-racing games won't have that. The non-racing games have an entirely different setup. Now, that makes it that much more interesting to play with the touchscreen. So as you see, the controls have been optimized per game. I press the gas pedal up top. My car begins to accelerate. The steering wheel is the analog stick. Please forgive my racing here. I am not the best at this. I just do enjoy a good racing game though. You can see that the controls for this game are different from that of the racing game. Here you have the fox. Lucky is his name, and the controls themselves are completely aligned and even look different. Here you have the fox. There's no brake. There's no gas pedal. The lightning rod, the emergency brake. It's all gone. The developers themselves decide on how they want the touch interface for the games to look. And to me, that's actually pretty unique. I've never personally seen that. And just like everything else, it works. Jump, tail whip, dig, and every button has been uniquely customized to the game, even the look of the buttons. So if you are a gamer on the Duo and you do happen to have the Game Pass, you're in for a very unique experience, because you can go from this wide view, which might be somewhat jarring to some, but just as easily you can switch to a much easier regular game view. No bar in the middle, and these very unique buttons to enjoy your gaming. I've done quite a bit of gaming like this, just trying to see how all the different styles of buttons that some of these games have. And there's quite a few of them. I won't go over all of them now, but I think I found at least 4 unique control setups and designs for the various Xbox games. So hats off to Microsoft for having the thought process to make the touch controls on their games different, unique to each game. Again, it just adds to the unique quality of not just the game, but the Duo itself, when you can show those who may not know of this particular feature. Now you've all seen my Xbox controller with the clip that I use for my SurfaceDuo gameplay. The Duo itself fits right in here. The clip goes up and it just holds it in place right on top of where the clip itself clips to the controller. It's not the most ideal connection, as it's snug, but I would prefer it to be more snug. But it does work just fine for online gaming and gaming on the go. The one issue I have with it is top heavy, because the Duo is significantly more heavy than the controller itself. Now, I was able to come across a device called the Razer Kishi. A friend of mine had it, and I was hoping that it could fit the size and shape of the SurfaceDuo, if not in tablet mode, at least in the phone mode. But unfortunately, the Kishi itself plugs into the USB port for a direct connection, and it doesn't open wide enough when open. The controller itself wasn't made to fit this form factor. Phones like my V60 were almost too big to fit in it. So because I enjoyed the form factor of the Razer Kishi, I went and looked up if there was anything that could possibly be used on a device like the SurfaceDuo. Today I bring to you the IPEGA Wireless retractable controller. It wasn't until I went on Reddit, once again a very valuable resource, that someone had an item similar to this. And I asked him how it was, how did it feel. He said it felt pretty good. So I said, let me try it. I went out and I got it. And let me tell you people, this is how you want to play your gaming with a device like this. First off, and probably the most important thing to me, is it fits. Even with the bumper on, it fits. And it works. Let's go into Asphalt. Now the gamepad itself is very responsive. Games control as they should, and it works out very well, especially in a game like this where control and precision are pretty much everything. Now, the feel is great because unlike the Xbox controller, which when you have a phone up top, depending on the size of the phone, it might feel top heavy. This device balances out the weight. The phone in the middle, the controllers at the side, and it clips in and connects via Bluetooth. It's reminiscent of holding, say, a Nintendo Switch. Very similar in form and function. Whereas with the Switch, these can completely come off to be two individual controllers. This is held together with this extending mechanism on the back. But when you have your phone in the middle, it's a very similar experience and pretty much plays the same way. Also, because of the form factor of this particular controller, it's not just for your SurfaceDuo. This can extend with both arms to fit large tablets. If it's something you did want, let's say you do have an iPad or a Tab S7 or any of the larger Android tablets, and you want a controller with which to house it in the middle for that more balanced gaming experience. Something like this IPEGA retractable wireless controller really works. Now, if you do happen to be considering a device like this, just know there is more than one type. They might go by different names, but they all pretty much do the same thing. But some of them are iOS and some of them are not. As it stands, my particular version does not work with iOS very well, only with certain games. Controller aside, one of the main reasons why we got the Duo to begin with is the dual screen functionality. And with the controller, it does allow for that. Note, I can still have my game up here while still, who knows, let's say I'm playing online, and between each race I want to check out what's going on Reddit, or between each race I have my book open at the bottom. If this is not the ultimate in multitasking when it comes to relaxation, I don't know what is. So while I'm here waiting for my online match or my online race to start, I can be going through my reading. I'm reading The Expanse right now. Wonderful books. It's I have my game going up here. In this case, Teppen, a very intense card game. And at the bottom of my screen, I could have the internet with perhaps the game facts on the game. Now, you will have to resize the keyboard because depending on the app, the bottom, if you have your game going up top, right, and you were trying to do a search here, depending on the size of the keyboard, it will take up the entire space. So I often have it as the float, so it's not in my way. I'm able to search for whatever it might be. Again, we can go into Teppen. Yeah, so you could have, in this case, your game up here and the walkthrough of said game, said area in the game down here. And while you're playing the game, you can actually be following along with whoever the content creator might be as he guides you through the game itself. When you think about it, if you're into gaming, there's a lot to be said with this type of setup right here. And again, nothing is too heavy because of the light form factor of the controller and the phone itself, and how it's housed so perfectly in here. It's a very, very, very welcome change of pace when it comes to gaming on this. And in case you did want to know, Game Pass does indeed work with this controller. So it's actually a very entertaining experience. As you can see here, I have Katana 0. And you see, we are playing, and it works great. Now, last but definitely not least, is another item that will improve your gaming experience on the Duo or like devices tremendously. If you're into gaming, you know that Not only is how the game controls important, but so is how the game sounds. Now, the Duo doesn't have a headphone jack, and truth be told, a lot of these Bluetooth earbuds, many of which that I do have, don't sync one-to-one as perfectly as they should. So there will be times where, while playing the game, the sound lags behind the action, and you are kind of forced out of the moment. Not knowing where friend or foe may lie, that too may cause you to not be your best in the particular game you might be playing. So today I bring to you something very small, very simple, but also very important when it comes to the gaming arena. I bring to you this handy dandy audio dongle. Now, I have a few of these, but this one is quite special because it isn't your regular dongle. As you can see, it's at a right angle, and that right angle makes it almost perfect to fit in the USB slot of the Duo. It's not hanging off, it's not dangling like many dongles do. If it was a little bit smaller, it would fit precisely flush with the device. Now note, because of how it is, you can have it plugged in, have your headphones in here, and still get all the audio you need it to have. And it does fit both ways, even with the bumper on. So now it's not as flush because the bumper is there, but the phone does recognize there is a device plugged in, and you can use your many wired audio headphones. In my case, I have my Bang&Olufsen, and these are my go-to. I actually keep them in a little pouch on my keychain, so I never leave home without these. But if these aren't for you, something more powerful like perhaps these Sennheiser 599s might get you in the mood for some high-end audio sound from your SurfaceDuo when you were getting into the game. Now, I prefer this particular device to a regular dongle, even though this one is more high-end, gives you some very good sound. But when you hook it up to the Duo, when it's with this controller here, the dongle itself is in the way. And playing, when you press the buttons, not that you can't, but I did find that when I'm playing and I'm not particularly paying attention, my finger does hit the wired dongle more often than not. Can I still play? Yes, but it's not the best feeling in the world to have this in the way. But let's take this out. This guy, of course, you might want to take off this little piece here. You may or may not care for it. It's just there. It's out of the way, and you can play. You plug in your headphones, and you there have a superior visual and audio gaming experience. This here is a almost perfect gaming setup, and the Duo and the various accessories that you can use on it allow for that. So with that said, my name is Angie, the Neon X, and making the Duo my own, this is what I'm into.